Hi guys, welcome to Game Club Podcast with me, a+start, and I'm joined by my good friends, She Says,
hello,
and my good friend, Beta64.
Woo! Yeah, let's go!
And on this week's delightful podcast, we are talking about Metroid Samus Returns.
Woo!
For the 3DS.
That's a video game.
It is a video game
I
that we
heard
all
about it.
played.
Yeah, I
you
did
guys
play
played
that.
it significantly faster than I did.
Yes.
Yeah, it took me a little while, but I
Yeah.
am actually fresh
Why the
off
podcast
the
so
kind of...
late. It's
fresh off the canoe, baby.
I'm fresh off the canoe on this. I literally
Fresh off the
just finished it about, half an hour ago now, just before we started this podcast. Yeah, I was
Really?
right up to the, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I really want to have it finished, because I read the comments sometimes. I see how you guys like, gotta finish the game before you have an opinion. So yeah, I thought I'm gonna finish this one and make sure I do it well and talk about it thoroughly, rather than just like, oh, I wonder what it'd be like when I finish it. You know.
Like
So,
the
yeah.
whole podcast is theoretical. Man, I wish
Yeah,
the
basically.
ending was. I wish the ending was better. I haven't played it yet, but I wish it was better.
I imagine it goes something like this.
Yeah.
And it's never anything. I'm never even close.
So, full-blown spoilers for this one. I
Yeah,
feel.
yeah.
There's just
Yeah.
it's
Blown
not worth talking about if we don't talk about the spoilers. So you've been warned.
Exactly.
The warning is here.
It's here.
Straight up. Mm-hmm. I've been saying straight up lately. Is that a problem?
It's straight up a problem.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's straight
I
up,
mean,
man.
It's fine by me. So
Okay, straight up.
straight up
yeah.
fine by me.
Straight up.
So let's talk about the story, because this is kind of an interesting game. It has an interesting story in the the mythology of Metroid, but it also has an interesting story in the real world and of how it came about, I think.
Yeah, cause it's segue to my episode on
I know, I was
the
just-
Beta
see?
64.
See what I did there?
You just segue that right in. I
You
made
can
a
call me
video
a
on
professional.
this. I can call you a professional Segway, like the ones you drive.
Yeah.
I made an episode on the development of the Metroid Samus Returns and the Metroid 2, and She Says makes an appearance. Don't tell anyone. I didn't tell him yet.
Hey,
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise for him.
I was shocked.
So watch that after this podcast. Link in the description. Eye in the face. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Moving on.
All right, good. Well,
I'm not good at my own plugs.
we should move on from that.
Yeah.
So in the real world, this is a remake of the Game Boy classic Metroid 2. It's literally called Metroid 2.
Yeah, literally.
And this also came a year after the release of a fan-made version of the same game.
Horrible timing on
Yeah.
the fan maker's part. No
Yeah,
one could have
kind of.
known, but
Well, this is the thing. I'm not sure which came first. Were Nintendo planning on making a remake? Or did
yeah, I
they
can
decide
tell you.
after the fact that, these fans have made it, we'll do it better?
no
It
way.
was, if I remember correctly, it was about a year or two before the remake ASMR, right? Another Metroid's remake.
That game is a ground up game, and it's 3D. It has 3D. It has really tight gameplay and everything like that. So like, there's just no way they could have pumped that
Yeah.
out in a year.
No. They
it's
spent time.
certainly not in response to the fan made game. Can you
No.
imagine?
So isn't it
Like-
strange that they were kind of made in tandem then, when you think about it?
It's called
Yeah.
coincidences.
Yeah,
Happens
it
all
is.
the time.
I don't like them.
Yeah, I
funny-
hate coincidences.
I've had that happen so many times where it's like I create a video and someone else just created a video, or I'll create a video and then
Yeah.
the other person
This is
and
the
everyone's
Digino-
screwed up.
Digino gaming thing.
Yeah,
right?
that whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Good times.
But yeah, the story of Metroid 2 is one that I kind of like, but it doesn't really serve the gameplay great.
Was that a segue into story?
It is.
Okay,
so,
cool. I was just a little lost. Continue.
So the story of Metroid 2 is essentially this. It's a direct sequel to the first game in the series, in which Samus blew up a base that space pirates were housing for biological weapons known as
What a
Metroids.
jerk.
And
Space pirates.
Those
and-
were the good guys.
And after she completes that mission, she's asked to go to the Metroid home planet and eradicate all the Metroids. Essentially wipe out a species.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, really.
Once again, Samus is the bad guy. Or bad
We're
guy.
supposed to feel good about this?
Yeah, I don't know. Just eradicate a whole species, no big deal.
And since this is a spoiler-filled discussion,
oh no, he's gonna say it.
Yeah, what happens towards the end is Samus destroys all the Metroids, defeats the Queen of the Metroids, and then for some reason it makes even less sense in this remake because in the original game there's no context, so you can kind of at least fill it in on your own. But with this game there is context, so to me it makes no sense at all why Samus would allow a Metroid to survive. Period. It's like you spent your whole mission killing all of them, and all of a sudden one's all right to you, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I'll keep this one.
She was feeling broody. She's like, I just killed all these Metroids. I've been killing everything left, right, and saying, "Oh, I want a baby."
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah.
Their mind changed the baby situation.
Yeah. She saw the opportunity and she took it.
And then Metroid Other M took it several miles and ruined the franchise with that concept. It's like, hey, yeah, Samus did not kill a Metroid in this particular game. Let's just make her a really wimpy, motherly character. It's like, oh god. Thankfully, Metroid 2, on the other hand, is nothing like that. It really tries to make Samus into a huge badass once again. Yeah. Any of you guys want to talk about that?
Are you talking specifically the kind of timed parry attacks during like major boss fights, I guess, where they kind of change up the camera angles a little bit, and she's all flipping and doing
Oh yeah,
cool
but it
stuff.
really tells you a lot about the character in the way that she moves during these things too. Like for example, when you beat that metal boss, and like he's like on his last leg, and Samus doesn't even turn to look at it. She just
pops a shot out,
shoots it right in the eye and die. Oh, so cool.
That was cool, but I was also at the same time thinking, could they not have made that a button press just so we feel a little bit cool? That was my honest
I'll tell you what'll
thoughts.
happen. Someone
good
will
point.
not know what to press, and they'll just stand there, and Samus will just awkwardly stand with her hand towards
Yeah,
it.
be honest. There's a lot of
You're gonna press
instances.
You're gonna
There's
press that
lots
button
of
there?
Yeah, there's a lot of times where games will make that expectation on you, and you're just sitting there for like at least 10 seconds, and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to push it. Okay,
Yeah.
I
so
definitely would have
awkward.
done that. Yeah, but I see your
I don't
point
know how
though.
to play games.
Yeah.
It would have made me feel pretty badass too. So.
No, you're not supposed to. It's Samus. She's the
All
only
right,
one
well,
that's badass.
it's her game, I guess. I mean, she did return. I don't know where she went between Metroid 1 and 2, but she went somewhere.
The original game was also
Hiatus.
called Return of
Yeah.
Samus.
She took a break.
I don't know what it was.
She was trying to have a baby.
That's the now that should have been the whole plot. Where it's like the time in between, she tries to have a child and she can't, and so when she gets on the mission, it's on her mind. So that way, at the end, it actually kind of makes sense. But they didn't.
When
do
you
that.
think about it, that's like another level for Nintendo storytelling, is it not? They never.
How do
That's
you-
an area they never really go to.
What?
So that would have been
Childbirth?
That? Childbirth? Or Baron?
no, just like I don't know.
Dark story.
Maybe just a bit of like I don't know, psychology-esque kind of her thought process. Like I want a baby, but I
okay.
can't. No, it's,
What you're saying is typically the main characters of a Nintendo game don't really have the thoughts.
they ain't got real problems, is what I'm saying.
Mario's just sitting there. I'm a blow you up. Boing.
Yeah, he's not got real problems. You could look at like Zelda and say, yeah, there's some dark stuff in there, but they're not real problems. There's not like an well, actually, I guess you could look at our world currently and suggest otherwise, that there is some kind of dark, menacing force. Let's move on from that before we get too bummed out by that
Yep.
one.
All right. I did like how Metroid was kind of a dark atmosphere though, because like I was making the Base 64 episode and I was listening to that OST, which by the way is OST good.
Oh, so good.
Oh, that would have been a better one. Dang.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Same,
But it was.
they're not called OSGs. Yeah.
That was good. Anywho, it was just like the whole soundtrack is like.
No, it's
Did you
not.
make the soundtrack?
It's not. For the record, for anyone listening, it's not a Monk Chapel by any means. It's
not-
actually.
Yeah.
No. But it's like a bunch of different like like low end, just boom, and the little.
You know what's funny is a lot of people were trying to be like, I watched a lot of reviews after I beat the game, and so many people said like, oh, they just borrowed from the Super Metroid soundtrack, which I like, but man, it would be great if they brought back some of the original tunes. And I'm like, did anybody listen?
Tunes?
Well, that's honestly, Metroid 2 soundtrack is originally not that good, but they did remake all those tracks into something like really good. If you listen for it, all the original tracks are sprinkled into these new tracks. So, to all of you
just
reviewers,
listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Just open your ears.
Like again, there isn't much to be. There's not much to really look back and think fondly of as far as the Metroid 2 soundtrack. But you know, you'll hear that stuff. Like for example, the little tune that goes doo 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 doo, that kind of crap. it's
perfect.
It's in there, but it's made into a good soundtrack.
Yeah,
But this is the other thing
so
that
good.
they need to realize about the music used in a series. These are themes. It's okay to, call upon themes that are in other games of the same franchise. I don't think people
i.e.
understand
Mario.
that. Yeah, I mean, how many times are you going to hear how many times are you going to hear that sprinkled throughout Mario games? You're not going to go, oh, they're just using the same music again. It's like, these are themes. They're important. They're what tie the music to a series. So I've got no qualms about them, throwing those in as well.
For me, when I heard the original tracks, I personally, I wasn't like mad or ecstatic. I think they were hoping that people would just like lose their minds of happiness because they heard like a song they recognized. But for me, I was just like, oh, they reused that one. All right, move on. It's like
You're the reason Nintendo doesn't remake games.
The only thought it kind of plopped into my head was I was like, oh, so I mean, I guess that theme is not exclusive to that planet that Samus went to anymore, I guess. But that's like, I'm not like super mad. I'm just like, that's the only thing I just thought about. Yeah, it's the only thing it made me think about. But honestly, like, I'm really, really glad with what they did with the existing tracks and the new tracks that they put into the game. Like the boss fights, like the one with, again, to go back to that metal boss. I forget, I don't know what his name is, but
metal boss.
Big metal red eye boss thing.
Yeah,
that's right. That's the official name.
I don't know what drills are though. The bit like big rotating hand thing. I don't know.
That's called
the music in that boss fight was also really good. I was like, man,
like what they did such a good job for just like atmospheric music. Like there was still some good tunes.
I like they bring back that do for the final boss. So that was good. And then they slowed it down for the final phase.
So at first I wasn't happy about Ridley being in the game at all. But then its saving grace was the fact that it was just there was so many like animations thrown into that thing to make Samus look awesome. And it was like it made it feel like a really desperate, really epic battle. So I really liked that. But at the same time, it was like Ridley's not supposed to be in Metroid 2. I guess it is a remake, a reimagining.
No, it's MOO. Yes, reimagining. I got a lot of comments that said it's reimagining.
I really don't know what the difference is with that stuff.
No, I mean,
I literally have
kind
no
of do. A remake would be beat for beat, I guess.
Yeah, and
in
then
most
what
cases.
about a remaster? No, isn't that a remaster?
That's what exactly. See, this discussion
So wait,
is
you
worth
got
having.
A remake, a reimagining, and a remaster. Okay, well, which
Remaster I thought was just a fresh coat of paint. A remake is building it and changing it, and reimagining is literally going from the ground up with something new. Which wouldn't that make it not a reimagining?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it makes it a remake, because like a reimagining is usually the bad one. Usually that's the one that you don't want to go near because
everyone says it's a reimagining. Even the Wikipedia article says reimagining.
But that would, I mean, I don't know. To the best of my knowledge, I've never played Metroid 2, so I have no idea. But to my knowledge, they are what they did with Samus Returns is they kind of redeveloped the map. So the map is not one-to-one. Is that right? I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Know.
I didn't play Metroid 2. I just did
it's not.
If that's true, then it's
not
reimagining. Yeah.
Okay. It's not. It's not a one-to-one. But it's like it still has the same quadrants. It still has the same concept where you have to kill X amount of Metroids, and then the
But everything else,
whatever it is, the
reimagining.
water or something, it lowers and stuff.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
it's
we've
the
come to the conclusion. It is a reimagining.
I
guess.
suppose so, because there are bosses in here that don't exist in the original.
You say, look,
game.
did you like Metroid 2? If you did, this is the new version.
Yeah, no, honestly,
looks nicer.
This is the original.
I will say, if you liked Metroid 2, what's wrong with you? But no,
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Wow.
No, honestly, as a huge fan of the Metroid series, I had things I appreciate about Metroid 2, which is that it has story context. But as far as the gameplay and the visuals go, it wasn't even good back in the day. It was awful because it had itself to compare to the original Metroid game. So at least that had color, you know. I mean, I can't really fault it for being on a Game Boy, but I can fault it for not having enough visual cues to figure out where you are. I can fault it for having repetition in quote-unquote boss fights, which is the Metroids. It was
so why
slow
was this one the remake?
because it needed it most of all. That's why.
Okay, so it was basically not that, oh, this was the best Metroid game. It was more
think
of the
it-
fact
Oh,
of
no.
this is just a Metroid
Yeah.
game that really needs love.
It
I
was
think the problem was not a lot of people played Metroid 2.
and it's so important to the story of Metroid. So like, I mean,
Just
honestly,
like Other M.
I always wanted a remake of
Completely ignored. Okay.
yeah. What game? Anyways, yeah, I've always wanted a remake of Metroid 2 so badly because, you know, if you want to go through the story arc of Metroid, it's a huge burden on your soul to get through the second game. So it's like Metroid 1, once you figure out where everything is, it actually is a pretty solid experience, and you can get it done in less than an hour. So it's kind of like, you know, once you're ready to marathon it, you're done before you know it. And honestly, once you beat it, there's a lot of charm to the ending and stuff. Then you get to Metroid 2 and you're like, this is just awful. I want to stop. And then you get to Super Metroid and everything goes great. So like when they did a
such a good
remake
game.
of or a reimagining, sorry audience, I'm just gonna call it a
Gonna kill
remake.
us.
When they did a remake of Zero, well, they call it Zero Mission, but they did a remake of the first game. I was like, this is great. Can we please get this done for Metroid 2? Because I don't want to play that one anymore. And I'm very happy to say that this game, if what you're trying to do is go through the story arc, this is a must play. It's incredibly good. So, I mean, it still has some of its drawbacks because it's anchored down by its original concept on the Game Boy. But for what it is, it's pretty amazing.
Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, the gameplay, I guess. I mean, see, it's a big game, and I did find it difficult at points. I don't know why. I think I'm just getting bad at games. And I did find myself backtracking a lot, but this was the other thing that I found happening, me just getting stuck. I got stuck maybe like 3 or 4 times.
Didn't you use like the little map thing?
Yeah, of course, but they were just like... the thing I went
didn't
in
get
thinking
stuck
it was
ever.
a more intelligent game than I imagined. And
That's Metroid.
and I went in just like, oh, there was a dumb part of the game. There's 3 blocks, and you had to blow them up with the bombs when you're in like the morph ball. There was a fan just on the top of them, and I couldn't for the life of me. I was overthinking it. It was
What
the
was
moment
the
I was like,
solution?
oh my, you just bomb underneath them. The fan would suck in the bomb, so I
Right.
couldn't be on top of them and bomb them. I had to go in from underneath, but I just, for the life of me, was overthinking it. And this happened to me maybe 3 or 4 times, these exact sort of situations where I was just like, what am I doing wrong? And I just like, oh, of course. And when it clicks, you're like, I am the dumbest person that ever walked the face of this earth.
So what's
And, yeah, it was just so dumb.
What was interesting for me was when I played it the first time, I didn't really have any of these moments because of the radar and everything.
Yeah.
Just to clarify for people trying to decide if they want to buy this game, there's special abilities in this one, and the first one you get is it kind of reveals some of the map to Samus wherever you're standing, as well as show you all the hidden blocks in your near vicinity if you happen to be standing there on the screen. So
Such a
that
good thing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I love it. I used to get stuck in all the Metroid games.
Mm.
But this, good choice.
It's a really great solution for people that have always hated Metroid for what Andy is having a problem with. But it also is it's so non-intrusive that you don't need it whatsoever. You can still have
You don't have to use it.
Right. You can still have the classic Metroid experience without it. But yeah, anyways, because of that, I didn't have any situations in which I was like, oh man, I don't know where to go. Plus, you know, there's so many ways that the game can help you figure out which direction you should at least be heading in. Like if you actually drop in some of the DNA of the Metroids before collecting all of them, it'll tell you where at least one of the next ones is. Don't know if either of you did that. But
I did that a few times. I was like, but I've been in this area. What am I missing? And then, okay.
But funny enough, though, is when I tried to do a second run to get a better ending, that's when I...
second run? Dang, man.
I love this game. I really like it a
You're pulling an
lot.
Andy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's usually
That's
the
true.
thing. I'm probably going to play this again. It seems like a good time to say that. But yeah, I'm probably going to play through it again. But yeah,
You don't have time for that.
This is the thing.
What kind of time are you going to find to replay this whole game?
I think part of the problem was, I mean, this game's been out, 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
I bought it while I was on a break. I waited till I got home, and then I started playing it. But then I'd kind of taken some time off, so I was like, I need to do some other things as well as play this game. So I was kind of coming back to it at points. I think somewhere in that journey of like, oh, okay, where was I? I was maybe forgetting things. And that could have been a reason like I was maybe getting stuck or lost. It was more stuck than lost. The map does a great job at kind of, it slowly reveals itself as you go through it. So it's easy to be like, oh, I haven't ventured past this point yet. Let's go back there and do that. So yeah, that's my excuse anyways.
But yeah, I was just gonna say, like, on my second run through though, I had the same problem as Andy. I just, for some reason, I got to a point where I was saw a puzzle that I just could not figure out, and I was like, I've already done this. Why can't I figure this out? And of course, now you have this added aspect of having to race against the clock. So now it's like I can't take too much time to think about this. But yeah, I've been doing a second run, and it's so much fun when you know exactly where to go and what to do. That's like the truth of any Metroid game. They're great with like immediate playthroughs afterwards, because you just take in that added knowledge and added experience into the next playthrough, and now your goal is to get through the game as fast as possible. And a game like this is so good for that, because when you're first starting out with the game, the counter system is kind of a pain in the butt to, like, you know, kind of adjust to. But once you go through the game the second time, it's like all these enemies, you just like mow through them, and every time they come at you in that split second, you're already ready with the counter, and you just feel like a frickin' badass. That word's coming up a lot.
Running theme the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stop you right there, because we've reached a point where I've come to a con.
Oh, okay.
We've been 20 something minutes in, and we haven't really talked about cons, but
bring it on, baby.
Here it
I'm
comes.
ready for you.
Hang on to your butts.
Why is it so difficult to figure out how to switch through weapons? The buttons, you gotta touch the touch screen with the button, then you gotta move over here, you gotta hold that right button, and then blah, 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 this and that. And I was trying to switch between things. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't figure this out.
The only time I really struggled with that is, you know, the part where you have like just the regular Metroids. It's just before you reach like the Queen Metroid, I guess you called it. There's like 10 just floating around, and you have to freeze them, then use a missile. I think that worked for me anyway. But I found it difficult to switching between the two. And this wasn't like an interface thing. This was just like, why can't missiles just be on another button? Like, what does what does X do the whole time? Y is like your just the fire button. B is jump. A is what did A do?
A is like, you know, pressing buttons and interacting with the world kind of thing.
So what did X do?
What did X do?
Because that would have been a really good point for that. That's just your missile button.
There's no way they would have just forgotten about a button, though.
This is my point.
Would they?
So I don't know.
Well, isn't it
I need
like
to be playing it?
Well, I mean the missiles are mapped to a toggle button anyway, right? So
Like, remember what button is the one to do the map where like you fly out, kind of blue thingy? What did they call that? Radar thing? Because I kept hitting that by accident.
The pulse thing. Yeah.
That thing.
That's right. So A triggers your kind of like the Aeons things. Like, whatever.
All I know is I kept
ability
pressing that button by accident so many times.
Yeah, I did
The
that.
controls just felt unintuitive to me.
yeah, the
Was X counter?
the interface. What?
Yes. Yeah,
That's
X was
what it
counter.
was.
That's the
right,
button.
there you go.
Okay. It's like, what is that button? Oh, the most important move in the game. Duh.
Yeah, the interface in general, I'll agree with you on that. It takes a while to get used to. After a while, it's got Star Fox Zero syndrome where it works.
Yes.
It all works, but you need to take so much time to get used to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's what
I appreciate.
I appreciate that.
I was ready to battle, but I was like, nah, you made a good point.
Yeah. No, but the touchscreen kind of switching between items, that can get a bit like
Yeah, that was
in the heat
part
of the
I didn't
moment.
like.
That's a bit like, oh god, I'm not in the right. I don't have the right thing. Quick, going through the menu. Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
it
and
gets
by
a bit
that you're
crazy.
already dead.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, howdy did I die
Straight
a bunch
up.
of times.
Yeah, for me also, I couldn't quite figure out how to use the Aeon abilities for like a good maybe 1/6 of the game. I was like, all right, how do I activate this? What am I doing to activate this? And all it was just select with the D-pad, think,
Press
right? And,
Of
yeah,
course.
press A. I was like, do I have to press and hold A? Do I have to stand
Yeah,
still?
no. I had that same problem. Same problem. There just wasn't enough. I had to like go through each menu, like, okay, what button am I pressing here? I need to give me a tutorial, anything. Metroid, man. It's typical though.
See, this is the thing. Like some of the boss fights are kind of like tricky. You have to figure them out. There's a lot of kind of like patterns and things like that. But when the interface is just a little bit clunky, that does add a level of difficulty on. There were a couple of like really expletive moments on my part where I was just like, what does this game want from me? Just like really angry. And then you figure it out, and then you kind of, I don't know, there's a bit of muscle memory after a little while of of how to figure it out.
Again,
But,
that's another cool thing too, is like when you first start fighting these Metroids, you don't know what to do, and it's like, there's so many patterns you have to memorize. But man, like once you go through that second playthrough and you know everything right off the top of your head, it just feels so
just
good.
murder them all. You just did genocide.
I like for one thing that took me, well, quite literally, that's the name of the game. But yeah, like 4 minutes. It used to take me like 4 minutes to beat a Metroid, like the first form, and now it's like I can kill it within seconds of getting into the chamber. It's like, so okay,
Whoa.
hit smash
So
that counter
impressive.
button, just unload all my missiles on it, and the second that it tries to get away, freeze it. And then just throw
Oh,
like
dude, that's a good idea.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
the best
I
way
didn't
to do
even
it.
think about
yeah,
that.
found out that freezing it like causes it to stop doing that annoying electric attack that doesn't allow you to
Really?
counter it or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Why didn't you
layers,
tell me
man.
this sooner?
But this is the
Layers.
thing. This is the thing. That's never explained anywhere. So the first couple of Metroids that I came across, I was just like firing at them using missiles, but not really the kind of parry counter kind of mechanic of the game hadn't really dawned on me yet. I could use it for everything, and you can use it for everything. So that hadn't dawned on me yet. And once I figured out that was a thing, and then you freeze them. Okay, cool. And then they became a lot easier there on in. But there are some real toughies in this game. Like some real head scratches, like, what am I doing wrong,
Yeah. But let's
And
be
just
honest,
getting-
though, Andy, you would not want the game to stop and be like, make sure you freeze the belly of the Metroid
Oh,
for
gosh.
Oh
action.
no,
No.
I wouldn't want that. I don't like hand holding either.
No.
But just some kind of, I don't know, clue me in
We're
a
just
little
getting
bit.
old.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe at times the game expects things of you that maybe you yourself would not come up with. I mean, it's I don't know. I had fun with it. Don't
I
get
don't
me
think
wrong,
they could have
but
done
it's
anything
difficult.
to fix that. I think that's just on our part.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blame
Get good.
us. Get good.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like Metroid, this game, perfect amount of not telling you what to do and kind of telling you what to do. Perfect amount. I loved it.
Like whenever you get a new ability, it explains exactly what it does, and then it's you that has to apply that to a situation. Yeah.
So you want to know what's my con for this game?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't think you'd have one.
Yeah, I know. Really, seriously, because I praise this game up and down. But
Dude, you praised this game before it came out. I remember like months before. You were just like, oh, I'm gonna special edition. Did you get the special edition?
No, because the only special edition I wanted was not in my country. So.
Oh yeah. Andy, did you get us our special editions?
No.
What?
Was this with the? Didn't it come with like the squishy amiibo?
No.
Squishy Metroid amiibo.
Maybe it did.
Is that
but...
available to everyone?
Yeah, that's available.
Yeah.
I got that. Yeah. I remember. I don't know if a story about the amiibos is appropriate for this conversation, but
of course. Yes.
Okay.
Comes with
all right.
the
Well,
game.
I actually waited for Best Buy to open. As far as I recall, they said like these amiibos were Best Buy and Target exclusive. So like I'm waiting at Best Buy before it opens. I get in there. I'm the first person through the door, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have any amiibos for anyone who didn't pre-order." And I'm like, "This is your exclusive, and you can't even have any stock for regular customers? What?" But I booked it to Target, which was like a 30-minute drive, so like probably like 40 minutes after the store opened, and there was just the one, and I got to buy it. So
why can I just imagine you just like, I'm gonna go to your competitors, I'm just running up to them. I just like cheeky face, just running.
Woo!
Normally I love Best Buy, by the way, but yeah, they failed me there, big time.
Straight up.
Tut tut tut.
Anyway, sorry.
What were we
totally
talking
brought it
about
off
before?
topic.
One of the things I want to talk about with this game is. Did you guys notice how like none of the YouTubers are having like a good time with views for this?
Dude, my views have been horrible. Horrible.
Yeah, I'm like looking at.
That was it. I don't want to talk about it.
I was looking at every YouTuber that covered this game, and they all kind of got the low end of what their view counts are typically. So I hope that's not an indication. I mean, I'm almost certain it is an indication of the interest from people who had any, like, you know, just fan interest. I don't get it though. Like, Metroid is such a huge franchise. At least I thought it was.
I know the answer.
Go ahead. Hit me with it.
It's a YouTuber answer. Okay.
Right.
So, do you know Foot of a Ferret? Guy who used to work for Game Theory.
Yeah.
Yep.
So after I tweeted out that it was like, oh, it's not a whole lot of views, he messaged me and was like, hey, I know. Here's the reason why. Turns out, YouTubers are getting crap views for any AAA game besides Mario, Zelda, or Pokemon. Okay?
What?
Okay.
You know it's the big thing? Indie games.
Oh,
Games
get more views on an indie game?
You get way more views for an indie game. All these AAA games are being thrown out the window.
Oh, I don't know about
indie
that.
games are... No, think about it. Undertale, Five Nights at Freddy's,
I'm thinking
Cuphead.
about Sonic Mania and how everyone did fine with that.
You know?
Yeah,
the way I would consider that, it was technically an indie game, theoretically. By theory.
The day that Sonic becomes an indie title is the day that I live in Universe B.
Think about it. It was an indie title, and then they were like, "Okay, make it an actual game." What is the difference between an indie game and a real
you're
game?
Reaching. Maybe. I get where you're coming from, but that.
Oh, hey, you know what?
People are never going to consider Sonic the Hedgehog an indie game, so you might as well just kick that one right out.
Just kick me right in the teeth.
But this is the thing; it falls under the umbrella of the mythical great views of Mario, Zelda, and Sonic. If you are a YouTuber, you are always going to do good views on those three series. That's just a fact. My bread and butter is those guys. But as soon as you touch something, I think what happened was. A lot, because years ago we had this problem. This is a really weird topic to get onto in a podcast about Metroid. But I think what happened was years ago there was a lot of kind of demonetization for just it being a well-known game, particularly with Nintendo games. So I think maybe there's some kind of like secret AAA boycott, maybe? I don't know. Maybe people
I
are
haven't
more
really
supportive of
experienced
indie
that
games.
though. I haven't experienced that whole Nintendo demonization in like 3 years.
I've never had one.
Here's
and now
my-
that means they're all going to get done.
Here's my guess at what's going on here. I think Nintendo kind of sprung on this game and also kind of downplayed it. I don't feel like there was a lot of hype leading up to the game's release. I mean, like, there's people like you and me that, like, saw the trailer and was just like, yes, 2D Metroid, and whoa, Metroid Prime 4, you know? And so, like, headlines were like, Metroid Prime 4, Metroid Prime 4. But, like, this game in particular just kind of, like, stayed under the radar. It didn't use that Aeon
I can
ability.
see that.
Yeah, it didn't know where it was, hidden in a block somewhere.
Yeah,
do you
and
think
so, like,
maybe...
and I don't think, like, any of the huge YouTubers that pull any weight around here, like us, no,
True.
really talked about the game leading up to its release, and so when it dropped, I think, like, you know, there was no resume of views for, like, you know, video suggestions to people. I think that might be the
true.
reason.
Okay,
You know what I'm gonna
let's look at it this way.
Yeah.
You two are big Metroid fans, right?
Yeah, I'm a huge one.
She says you're a
I
big
I'm
Metroid
the
fan. right?
biggest
says it's a
Metroid
hu-
fan.
I am a moderate Metroid fan. I enjoy the Metroid series.
Let's just
Good.
put it this way. I love it more than Zelda and Mario. And
Okay,
Wow,
you're on
okay.
your own.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as that. So
I
me
would.
and Beta are probably what I would call. Well, I'm going to speak for myself there. Every
No,
time
you can talk about
I
it.
didn't grow up with Metroid. I probably first played a Metroid game maybe, I don't know, 5-10 years ago. I'd never touched
Oh,
the
dang.
series before, but every single time I've played one, I really, really enjoyed it. But it doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't hold that, you know, when they announced this game, Samus Returns, I realized the significance of it because the fan base had been so barren for such a long time. Like, there hadn't been a big Metroid release that fans could really get excited about. And then they go and announce 2. But I feel like maybe that might be a reason. Maybe them not really focusing on Metroid. This is Nintendo as a company, not really focusing on Metroid is maybe detrimental to them because they're, like you said, it was downplayed, and I feel like Nintendo themselves downplay their own series for whatever reason. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I feel like it suffers in that regard to the point where people don't even know what Metroid really is. It's such an old franchise that, you know.
But you know, that's the thing though.
I
Is
can agree with that.
one of the things that Nintendo does that shouldn't make this a problem is Super Smash Brothers. You know, it's like you have all these characters reintroducing themselves every generation because of that franchise. That, you know, when they release a new Metroid, even if you were 7-year-old Tommy Winkles, who
Tommy
never,
Winkles, really?
yeah, Tommy Winkles, who never played a Metroid game in his life.
Poor guy.
Mr. Winkle down the street.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. You're
Teacher or
talking about.
something.
Yeah, I remember him.
He sees Samus in Zero Suit Samus, you know, in Super Smash Brothers, and he's like, I gotta play that game someday too. And when the new Metroid game comes out, it should be in little Tommy's brain that he's just like, oh my god, it's the game with the Smash Brothers. You know, so
Little Tommy's way too obsessed with Samus.
Tommy may be one of those
Weeb.
hyperactive kids.
so I mean, like that. There's that. I mean, it worked for Fire Emblem, right? That's so. I don't know.
See,
Did it
Fire
work for
Emblem,
Fire
never
Emblem?
played any of them. I have no
I have
interest
not. I have played like a little bit of Fire Emblem. And
Fire
I regret
Emblem-
not playing anymore.
Fire Emblem's doing really well. Nintendo does this thing where it's like if a game is remotely successful, they just dump all their resources into it, and they just did that with Fire Emblem. It's like
The Fire Emblem mobile
they're
game
still
is
doing
pretty
that.
good. Like I haven't played it, but I heard that the mobile game for Fire Emblem was like top notch.
I mean, I played a couple, but the thing is like. I don't know, man. Yeah, you might be right though. It's like it lays dormant for so long that when it finally comes out, it's like the surviving members of the Metroid fan base
Oh god,
come out.
They all died. What happened to them?
Hi, I'm fan base member number 234. I just wanted to get on the internet to say you guys should buy this. Anybody?
Because-
Hello.
to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, the Wii U didn't feature any Metroid games, right?
That's right.
Besides the Virtual Console, yeah, nothing new.
Yeah, so that's an entire, like, that came out, 2013, the Wii U, and then died a
2012.
death last year. 2012. So that's an entire console lifespan where no major Metroid games have been released. That means people have been, like, born in that space of time, and little kids would have maybe been, 5 to 10 to 15 and not actually ever experiencing Metroid. That's a long period of time. When you look at the other really, the big three hitters that I mentioned before, Mario, Sonic, and Zelda, they're
technically,
almost
Zelda wasn't
annual,
really on
really, except for Zelda's got a bit of a weird cycle. But
Yeah,
there are
Zelda
even,
was-
they got smaller games. They always treat on the handheld,
That's
so,
true.
Here's the lesson
We got
we learned
Federation
here.
Force.
Oh man, that's another thing I think might have hurt it too. Is like there was such a high controversy for Federation Force that I feel like it might damage the brand, And then also by Nintendo putting their foot on the AM2R, I think that also just hurt their reputation. Like
Okay.
that could be another aspect.
Yeah, there might be like a whole subset of people who refuse to buy this game out of protest, but I don't think that it would be big enough to ruin the sales of the game overall, to the point where like you can't do a YouTube video on it and have it be as successful as, I don't know, your Sonic Mania video,
Now, I want to get you guys' opinion, okay? Do you think Nintendo was right or wrong, or somewhere in the middle, for shutting down the fan remake?
Oh, wrong. 100% wrong.
That's not how you foster a fan base, and that's not how you breed creativity. Okay, again, we have an example of that. See, Sega's great. Not all the time.
Sonic
of course.
Forces coming soon.
Yeah, oh my god.
I like to think of
so
Sega
looking
as like the
forward
Big Lebowski. They just don't give a crap, but everyone loves them.
to this. I'm the dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
you can make a game, man. I don't care.
just give me my rug.
Why don't you make a good game, Sega? Oh, come on, man.
I'm the dude. This is the I mean, Sega did that great. There are so many Sonic fan games that Sega have never. We've had 2 this year essentially. Sonic Mania is technically a fan game, and we've just recently this week we've had Sonic 2 HD, which looks amazing. But
Yeah.
Sega have never gone like, guys, you need to cut it out, shut it down. We're losing money here or something like that. But Nintendo just like they're hot on things like that. They came in with this this Metroid 2 remake that fans had lovingly crafted, and they just came in and went, no, you guys, we're just gonna pull the plug on that one. Sorry about that. We got our own. I can kind of see why they did it from a standpoint of a business aspect, because they already had their own version in the works, and I could see how that would be like, there would be a conflict of interest there. I could see that, but at the same time, now there's 2 games that fans can play. So, and it's not good. It was free, so they didn't make any money off it. I don't understand why they would
I
shut
think
that
that was
down.
the point. It was free, so why pay for Metroid Samus Returns?
Because it's the
fans
official
will play
one.
anything.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying it was right or wrong in that sense.
But that's how
I'm
they should
saying
think.
it's wrong.
That's how they should think about it. Yeah,
I'm gonna
definitely
be the
think it's wrong,
neutral
but-
party on this, because there's a whole business standpoint that's a thing, but I don't want to. It's definitely don't want to say it was right. Definitely don't. But
It was just flat out wrong to me.
I think I see. The thing is, even from a business standpoint, let's be honest here. The way that Sega's been handling it has been nothing but good business for them. It keeps the interest in the franchise alive. It doesn't seem to affect their sales in any way, and it really helps
well,
their
sales
reputation
weren't
as a
that
game
good.
company.
Their sales weren't that good to begin with.
What? No, they're really
Sonic.
good.
Sonic sales?
Yeah.
Do they sell games anymore?
Oh, for sure. They have a lock on the younger gamers.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, they do it really well with Sonic games.
And the other side of it is looking about how Metroid has kind of gone in under the radar. Sonic Mania has done nothing but boost Sonic to the point where Sonic Forces might actually be successful in sales, but get just downright terrible reviews, and you can see that coming from a mile off.
Yeah,
But
Boy, howdy!
But can
see
you
this
say the
train
same for
wreck.
Can you say the same for Metroid? Is what we're trying to deduce here? Is if they had paid a bit more attention to the fan base, maybe throwing out a game or two every 2 years, maybe something like that. That sounds like a good development cycle to me.
I don't like their weird development cycle. So, like, this thing that they're doing here with Metroid Prime 4 and Metroid Samus Returns is the exact same thing that they did with the original Metroid Prime, which is they pretty much did like a two major Metroid games within the same window of each other, Metroid Fusion and Metroid Prime. And for Metroid Prime and Fusion, it was almost like a week apart. And I never liked that. I was like, okay, so I have to compete a Metroid game with a Metroid game right now, because it's like, which one do I play?
Yeah.
And that's just such a bad idea. I don't understand why they like looked back and was like, "Oh yes, that was the good days." You know, it's like, no.
Hey, remember when we messed people up?
Yeah, they should have been like, let's release Metroid Fusion 2 years before Metroid Prime or something like that, because there was such a long window of nothing going on. It's just this cycle is exactly the same as it was so many years ago. There was no Metroid game on either a Nintendo 64 or Game Boy Color, you know. And
that would have been cool. Metroid on Nintendo 64.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
That would have been great.
I mean, it was something I was waiting for when the Nintendo 64 was out, but it never happened. And the same history repeated itself with the Wii U. And what was it? No, I mean, I guess it's been on every handheld, but still, like in that window that the Wii U's been out, there's been no Metroid games whatsoever, even on handheld. Oh, well, the ones that we don't like to talk about.
Metroid has bus syndrome. That's what it is. You wait for a bus and then 3 come at once. So.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I've never heard of that saying, but that's a good one.
Yeah, that is a really good saying. I've never heard of it either.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Hey.
Now I heard it back. It's a bit of a dad joke.
Dear Nintendo, get off the bus. Buy Samus a Lamborghini.
Yeah, seriously.
Get her a private jet so she can show up every year.
They even completely ignored her anniversary.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's fan art of that exact thing.
Yeah,
there's like there's this great picture. Maybe we can remember to put it into the podcast. Hashtag things that we say we're gonna put in and then we don't. But
does that mean I'm off the hook? Nice.
Make a list.
But there's this fan art of like of everyone in the background celebrating Zelda's 30th anniversary, and like they're practically carrying Link and Zelda on their backs. And then in the foreground, you just see like Samus like having like a warm smile with a little Metroid that has a tiny little cupcake for a birthday cake, given to her. It's supposed to signify like how nobody seems to care about the Metroid anniversary, but everyone's just going gaga over Zelda's. And that's just going to happen every single time because it came out the same year, unfortunately. But, I mean, Nintendo, you need to refocus. You need to shift your focus to your lesser franchises. You got to give some tender loving care to them. Yeah, I mean, maybe people would have wanted this game more if you showed that it's something that we have to get. Because it is something that we have to get. It's an incredible game. And I would hate for this to be an indication to Nintendo that people don't care about Metroid anymore. Because this game is something I've always wanted. It's incredible. I love it.
So did it live up to?
Wow, good summary.
That was great. Did it live up to the your expectations in that respect?
Yes, I think so. I don't think there was any expectation that I really had going in that wasn't met, at least. Yeah, I mean, like I walked out with a couple complaints, but there weren't things I was thinking about ahead of time before going into the experience. So.
That's good. So, should we sum up?
I guess, yes. That was a good sum up. That was kind of passionate.
Yeah, I'm a passionate Metroid fan, big time, man. Yeah,
this is the thing I keep realizing. Fans are more passionate about these things than,
the companies.
The actual companies that make them.
Honestly, though.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well. You guys want to do final thoughts?
I feel like if I try to summarize, it's never going to be as good as that.
It's like
I still have a summary, so
it's like George Washington comes up and does
I'm just getting warmed up, baby.
Oh, baby.
Metroid Samus Returns is a game, and it's good. Your turn.
Good one.
You're not selling it.
Okay. Metroid Samus Returns. The only really Metroid game that I really, really liked was Super Metroid. That was the only one that I was like, all dead set, oh, this is a good, straight up Metroid game. I said straight up again, dang it.
You did?
I know. Oh, this is
Straight
like 5
up.
times. Straight up. But it was so good, and I was like, that's the pinnacle of Metroid games. And then I played this. It's not as good as Super Metroid. But it's a pretty dang good Metroid game. I'm thinking my favorite game, Super Metroid on top. And I think this is right underneath. This is a good second place contender. I'm just saying that this might not be the best overall Metroid game, just pow, boom, bam. And it's not like I have like super amount of cons. It just didn't live up to that kind of standard. And I admit I put too high of a standard on it. I do that. So it's not like they were probably going to live up to it anyway. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not the best. But it's still pretty darn good.
Okay.
All right.
Andy, do you want me to go or do you want to go?
I'll go because
Okay.
you're gonna really sell it at the end. Metroid: Samus Returns. I am not a huge Metroid fan, but as I said before, I have enjoyed every single game that I've played, and they are very limited. They would be the first Metroid, now this, and Super Metroid. So between those 3 games, I've got a very limited experience. But what I do know is when I went into this game, I kind of went in just with no expectations, really. And I think that served me well, because as I was playing, there were some moments of frustration. You know, I kind of... it was a roller coaster ride of emotions, let me put it that way. But what I kept coming back for was I loved how, you know, you just keep going with this game. There's new little secrets and areas, and you fall upon a place you haven't been yet, and there's always this kind of hunger to explore and move through the game in that way, and that's what kept me coming back. The boss fights are hard, but very well done. You know, they're very engaging. The interface is a little bit clunky in that respect. Going in, you know, trying to beat bosses with this kind of clunky, like, oh, I need to keep switching things. But that's a very minor thing about the game that, you know, kind of turned me off it. But I really enjoyed the whole experience, and I will play it again because it sounds like second time round is maybe the best time round. You know, so yeah, I really
That's
really
what
enjoyed
we've
it.
been missing.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
we'd
really
be
really
as
enjoyed it.
passionate.
And
We'd be
I
like
would recommend
she said
it.
if we just played it.
Yeah, well, he's gonna sell it now, so.
Yeah.
There it
This
goes.
is our
Ladies
2
and
summers were
gentlemen,
crap.
Samus has returned. No, it's funny to touch on what Beta 64 said. Of course, I love Super Metroid, and I think everyone holds it in a really high regard. Some people consider it one of the best games of all time. But for me, there's so many things that in this game that actually is done better. Like, for example, the combat system. With Super Metroid, the enemies in the background, where they were just essentially background noise. You could just kind of like jump over them and avoid them. In fact, that was encouraged to get the best times. Here in this game, it's way more engaging. Like, if you want to dodge enemies, you have to do it fast because they're coming at you fast. Or you can use the combat system, which is quick and snappy if you use the counter system very quickly. I would love to have that incorporated into Super Metroid, and then I would consider Super Metroid the best, most definitive Metroid game of all time. The only thing that holds this game back is the repetition of bosses from the Metroids themselves. Unfortunately, that's just the focal point of the game and the story, so there's just no way around it. But for what it is, it's a very engaging, very fast-paced, very fun, very true to form Metroid game that is something that we've all been waiting for. And really, if you wanted Metroid to come back in the right way, this is your chance to play it and show yourself a really good time. I, again, think that there needs to be a much bigger discussion about this game in particular, because I do think it's that good. Just do yourself a favor, pick it up, and enjoy Samus Returns.
That was beautiful.
I don't know.
That's the kind of speech that put hairs on your chest. Wow.
It's beautiful.
I feel so inspired. I'm gonna go buy the game again. That
please.
expired.
But
Everyone buy it twice.
Anybody who's never played
Huh?
a Metroid game, definitely pick this one up. That's the bottom line. I mean, it's just a good, whether it be Metroid or any other game. This style of game, there is something to it. There is a real kind of, old school kind of vibe about it, but it brings a lot of new things to the table as well. So I would definitely recommend it.
Andy, you're not allowed to give us another summary. That's a second summary.
I know.
Second summarized.
Summarize returns.
I feel like I feel like in some ways we are like Nintendo, maybe downplayed it, and I think it really is a good game, and it really does deserve your time. So yeah.
Honestly, my thoughts on Metroid: Samus Returns have to be summarized like this. I already said that. No. It's good.
One thing I want to say too is if you enjoyed this video, make sure you go check out Beta 64's video on Samus Returns. There's going to be a link in the description. It's criminally underviewed. I thought it was a fantastic video. So please check it out. Watch it at least 5 times.
Yeah, at the very least.
So good. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really good stuff, man. Are we ready to do this outro?
You can hear my blushing through the camera.
So, yeah, there you go. That was Metroid: Samus Returns. What are we doing next week?
You guys want to talk about Star Fox 2?
We can. So
dude.
did you guys get the SNES Classic?
I did. Yes, sir.
Mine's at Best Buy, and it's been there for like 5 days, and I haven't been able to pick it up.
What?
It goes off tomorrow, and I need to get there today.
Yeah,
if I
you
don't,
do.
I'm
Dude,
screwed.
what are you still sitting there?
Yeah, what are you doing?
I'm getting out. I'm getting out the closet.
Go get it.
So while he's doing that, I have only played. What have I been playing this week? I played Super Metroid, funnily enough.
Hey!
Did a bit of Super Mario World. Did a little bit of Super Mario Kart. And a little bit of Link to the Past. I haven't
Dude,
even
why
really
did you play
tested.
Donkey Kong Country?
I imagine that there's still glitches in these. I imagine they
Yeah, there
have
is.
I think they
pretty
fixed
one-to-one.
one from somewhere. I can't remember what game. But
there
these
is.
aren't perfect ports. They did
So-
fix stuff.
Oh, okay.
What? They did?
Yeah. There's something somewhere in some game that they fixed, and I can't remember what it is. But yeah, they did
Okay.
do stuff.
Okay. Huh.
Wow. But that's all I've been playing. I haven't really had the time to really get down dirty with that machine, but
Yeah,
it's
Star Fox
gonna be a
2
good
next
time.
week. How about that, guys?
yeah, that sounds
How about
good.
that?
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, should I do the end
the
card
outro?
thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
You always do. I mean, you don't have to ask anymore. Just do it at this point.
I don't
That's
want
just your
to.
place.
I don't want to interrupt anybody and just I didn't want like Beta 64 to be like, here's an excellent point I'm about to make and be like, so guys, you can follow us on Twitter.
But where can you follow us on Twitter?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Maybe next week it'll be like, all right, now we're gonna say the last summary for Beta 64. Go for it, buddy. Anyways, guys, you can follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handles are at the top of the screen right here. If for some reason you didn't want to listen to us on YouTube, you can always listen to us on podcast websites like Google Play, SoundCloud,
Yeah.
and iTunes. They're all
those are
in the
places.
video description down below. Also, our individual channels are also in the video description down below. If for some reason you're only here for a+start, which I don't blame you, but we're not so bad either.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind.
Our,
love you all.
Start
Our individual channels are also in the video description down below. And I think that's it, right?
Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
Alrighty.
I'm kind of. Do we have to end?
Peach!
Why?
No, I want to keep talking. No.
Why?
Now the end card's up. It's over.
Peach.
I don't.
You said
No,
it.
wait.
You said
Peach! Beta!
Peach. Sorry, Peach. Peach.
She
I'm
didn't,
sorry.
she didn't end the letter. Oh, I've got some more things to say. She just says Peach.
Yeah. Turn it over! There's a secret engine in the back. I'm right there. Peach! Mario, don't you know Peach is code word for turn the ladder over? Come on!
On the back it just says, "I'm not really with Bowser."
Yeah.
Said I was.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went to go visit my parents.
I just feel like we're spending too much time together. I just said a thing so I could get some free time.
But I did bake a cake for you.
I did. It's in the castle.
Yeah. It just has icing that reads sorry on the top.
Sorry. I want to see other people.
Yeah. Oh, man. Peach.
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 I'm probably not going to keep that in, but
Unfortunately.
No. The thing is, the end card would have been up. This will be the it's cut edition. You know, we'll create a new series. It'll just be these things.
Yeah, okay.